Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and this is my ghostly update vlog. So, first off, I want to thank you guys for watching my channel and my episodes, especially to those who just found me. Really, I went into this, as I've mentioned before, really just talking about my ghostly experiences. So, we're going to start off with that one. And then we'll go into a bunch of questions that I've received, and I know I said I would follow up with you guys. It's taking me quite a while. I literally just finished filming to eat. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I still have to edit this video to come out. And I can't promise you guys there'll be a video next week because we're going into Thanksgiving. So, if you guys follow me on social media, Instagram or Facebook, Tassie Eats, which is more about my mukbang channel where I'm eating and everything and cooking. I'm super excited for Thanksgiving. I'm not a turkey fan. I don't really eat traditional holiday stuff, basically. It is probably because I'm Asian and I'm Hmong, and typically, the star of the show is like egg roll or pho or kapun, so it's kind of like turkey and traditional stuff is not really my thing. So I'm super excited this year what I'm getting for Thanksgiving. We're still doing a traditional turkey, green bean casserole, and mashed potatoes, but what I'm excited for, I'm making rice for myself because, as you guys know, my boyfriend's white, his family's white. I will probably be going to my family as well. We shall see, but it's a lot of stuff going on right now. Anyways, so to my ghostly update. The other day in my apartment on the what we call garden level, it's basically the basement, but like the windows are above ground. But anyways, I was down there because our laundry room and our storage units are down there. So I was down there, and as I was leaving, I was going up the stairs, and I saw a girl sitting on the stairs. And then when I turned the corner, she was gone. And it was kind of funny because it was really weird because she wasn't a ghost. It wasn't a ghost of somebody. I actually saw somebody's spirit. And the girl was sitting there waiting. And I think it was weird because it's not normal. And also because it was the spirit of a girl who had been at the apartment. But I think she was like really sad during that time. And this is, I guess, just open knowledge to you guys. For Hmong people, we always have this saying about like bongpli, and bongpli can happen when you're scared, you're very, very sad, you get into accidents, you get really sick, so you can lose your spirit at any point in time. And for her, seeing that girl on the stairs, I knew it wasn't a ghost, it was actually her spirit, because she had actually fallen, or her spirit had actually fallen at that time when she was sitting on those stairs. So I thought that was really interesting. That girl doesn't live here. She was actually here waiting for a ride, but she knew somebody who was here, or at least she doesn't live here anymore. But that was really, really weird because it's pretty rare. Yeah, it's pretty rare that I had to think about that for a minute. It's pretty rare that I actually see somebody's spirit, like when you were really sad and you dropped your spirit or something. So I think something really bad was going on in her life, and she had been sitting on those stairs and she had left her spirit, and her spirit was doing the same thing because that's what you had left it at. And like whenever they say like you're scared or something, for Hmong people, they always try to call your spirit back right then and there at that spot. So if you have an car accident, let's say, your parents may come back later to that exact spot and try to call your spirit. And there's also a theory that you shouldn't pass by that spot again for another year because your spirit may fall again because you're colliding back to that really negative energy that had happened to you. So yeah, there's that too. Now, do I believe in that though? Is that real? Because it's supposedly a theory that your parents have just always said. My spirit guides are saying it's not real, but I think I understand. It's more of like a form of protection, like just to be safe. You probably shouldn't do that. Just because, because my spirit guides, they're saying it's not real because if you call your spirit back and you're whole and you're fixed, then it won't happen again. Like you can cross that area again, it's not a problem. But it's bad in the term that if you did not call your spirit back and you're not whole and fixed again, then it is a negative thing. But they're saying that it's fine. You can pass the same areas. I don't really know why they do that. And I actually had a viewer who mentioned or commented to me that it's funny because a lot of times when you talk to like your parents or your elders, they don't really know why they do some of the things they do. It was just a theory that had been passed on to them, and so it became a belief to them that that is the truth. So they carry on to it, but yeah, yeah, that there's no truth in that, you guys. I'm sorry. With calling your spirit back and making you whole, and when I mention that, typically somebody will hooplee for you. And the best way of hooplee, I don't like saying this part because a lot of you guys are going to be like, what? Because the best way to hooplee it is with chickens and the egg and the incense sticks. Sometimes people will just use an egg or incense sticks, okay? But the chicken method is the strongest method. So typically like a really bad car accident or something really, really tragic, that's why at ceremonies they always use chickens, okay? Because the chicken is really what's going to protect and hold you together. If you just have an egg without the chicken, it's okay. I would say it's okay for lighter scenarios. I'm sorry. I was like thinking of these scenarios. I was like, no, you need a chicken. No, you need a chicken. So typically it'd be like, you know, you got scared for just like a little bit, or you got a little cold, you know, like it's more like a flu, but like, you know, some people will use an egg. And I know that a chicken is a lot of work because you need the chicken live first, you guys. And I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story, but so the first time I was becoming a shaman, this is the ceremony for when my teacher came to raise my first shrine, right? It was really funny because I lived on my own and I didn't know, I knew that they needed eggs and that the eggs were cooked, but I didn't know that when you hooplee, there's two parts to hooplee. So the first time when you do the calling of the spirit ritual, the egg has to be raw. And then after you've done that ritual and it's over, you go and you cook the egg and then you do it again, right? I didn't know that. I boiled all the eggs. So then like I had aunties come over and they're getting ready to help for the day. And I'm like all proud and excited. I woke up early and I made rice and I made all the eggs. I'm ready for the hooplee. And they were like, oh my God, did you boil all of them? And I was like, yeah, I need a lot of eggs. So the eggs are supposed to be raw, you guys. Don't boil them, okay? Only after the first part of the ritual is done, then you go and boil it, and then you do it again. So I didn't know that. But anyways, so yeah, about hooplee and everything, use a chicken if you can. But, you know, the chicken's alive when you first get it. And then you literally have to kill it in mova, which is basically you pluck it and you boil it, and then you just cut it in half. You don't cut them into pieces. You have the whole chicken with the head and everything and the legs on, the feet on, and then you boil it and everything, and then you put it back on a tray with a cooked egg now and a spoonful of cooked rice and incense sticks. So just don't boil all your eggs. Somebody had to go out and buy more eggs. Now, about everybody's questions. So I've had a lot of questions. I was just thinking about a lot of other random ghostly things. You know, like I always see them like quickly in passing and it's not a big deal. So those things happen to me pretty regularly, especially if I'm outside at night. I see them a lot. But these aren't spirits who recognize me or are approaching me. It's pretty rare for a ghost to actually do that. And the ghost has to be pretty smart and self-aware to actually do that. So, to the questions. So I get a lot of questions, you guys. I get a lot of emails too. I am trying to keep up with them, but I've been really, really busy, you guys. I do read them, but it's like when I get the emails, it's like all this information and I don't have the time to write it all out. It's easier to just like do it in a video really quick. So I'm going to try to remember some of these things, okay? So I was asked, is there a hell for shamans? Of course there's a hell for shamans. We're human. Like, shamans are... Okay, I can't say what I was about to say. Shamans are meant to be like a holy being, but it doesn't mean we are, because like how, and the question was phrased, if like a shaman killed somebody in real life, would they be punished in the afterlife? Of course. The answer is of course. So it doesn't matter who you are. You could be the Pope for all we know. Your sins are accounted for when you do pass on. You do have to pay up for your sins. And for Hmong people I had questions about reincarnation and the three spirits I reference a lot. That is a Hmong belief, a shamanism belief that I am taught by my spirit guides. And we are taught by other shamans, like your masters. They teach you those things, right? So this is, I cannot speak for other cultures and other religions because that is not my forte, so a lot of my stories here, it's only about my own experiences. Now, is it a guarantee it's true? No, because these are my experiences, my stories, my knowledge, what my spirit guides tell me, and it may be my reality, but it may not be everyone's reality. So keep that in mind. Now, what I am going to say though, about like the hells and everything like that. So I know, like when I was going to church, they always talked about being in purgatory. You're in this limbo for a long time. It's like a hell, and there's like different levels of hell, and basically for us, what happens is typically you are reincarnated as an animal. And I've mentioned this before in other videos about sacrifices and everything. Your punishment is you're reborn as an animal. And with that's like really bad, basically. Because being reborn as a human is actually a gift. It's not everybody will get that right. So, and the thing is, don't think of it as a timeline, because the timelines work very, very differently. So, for example, let's say you have a grandfather. He passed away. A year later, you're pregnant, you have a son, and a shaman has said your son is the reincarnation of your grandfather. That's a year, right, for us? But for your grandfather, he's already gone through things. And I'm not saying your grandfather was evil, but just in case, like, not evil, but just any sins that he has to pay up for, he would have gone through it in those lifetimes before, bam, he is reborn as your son. This, so like reincarnation, how does that work? So, so I answered the first question. Yes, even shamans get punished. Okay, so I've talked about that before with like, you might not think you're evil, but it's because it's your perspective. You think everyone else is doing evil unto you, but you are not the judger. It's the heavens. The heavens judge it. So even if you truly 1,000% believe you're innocent, the heavens will actually finally judge you. And the heavens will give the final judgment call, because they will tell you, no, you were bad this whole time. And you're going to be like, what? And then you're telling your story, and they're like, I don't need to hear your story because I've seen your story. Because they see the full picture, not just your story. So, it all depends on what side you are. So you may think you're innocent, but you may not be. I'm just saying. And so, you do get punished. And that's why for my teaching, my spirit guides are always like, rah, you can't do this, you can't say that, you can't everything like this and that. Because they're trying to show me the whole picture. So even if I feel like really mad, it's just like, I have to see where that person was coming from. That's why technically they may not be in the wrong. And, that's why if you're a shaman, you can't be doing anything to someone who is not a shaman, because it's like doing it to a child. It's like cheating, Anyways, moving on. So reincarnation and everything, being reborn to families, getting married and all that stuff. So this is how it works. If you're a girl and you marry into a family, and somebody asked if they were gay, like a man marrying into another family, I don't know of any Hmong families, and this is strictly my own experience. I'm not saying it's true, okay? So there is this thing that Hmong people do if you follow shamanism. It's called lukai. Lukai is taking a live chicken, throwing it over your head, literally not tossing the chicken, but really you're just kind of going over your head, right? And they say some chants to basically take your spirit into this family, right? So when they do that process, what happens is when they do ceremonies, typically once a year when the family does no pacho, they have like this whole bonfire thing, and you kind of go under these ropes and everything. You go, yeah. So that's like, basically, whenever they do ceremonies or they hupli or anything like that, they call your spirit with them because you are their family now. And what happens, right? So if you have children and everything like that, your children are part of that family. With divorces, typically that's pretty hard. Most of the time, the children is still part of that family. Typically what happens, because, I know people who got divorced from their children and everything, people will still call the children, especially on the husband's side of the family. They will call the children because the children are with that husband's family. Even if the wife and the kids are no longer have nothing to do with the husband's family, if they are still calling the spirit, they have every right to, because technically those children are part of that clan. Now, if you get remarried though, if you get remarried and your husband is now calling your children as part of their clan, it will go to that clan. All right. So, with getting married and divorced, same thing happens. You're divorced, they stop calling your spirit and you're no longer part of that clan, right? And if you guys just get married and you don't do the whole lukai, and then you don't do the calling of the spirit and everything like that, then it means you are not technically part of that family in the shaman belief. Okay? In the shaman world, you are not part of that family because that family doesn't practice it. They go to church, right? So if you go to church, you guys are going to have your own belief system. So it's not even going to matter if nobody ever calls your spirit. Okay? So but in the shaman world, we would not see you as part of that family. And your family, like let's say you're a girl, your family is shamanism and your husband isn't. You marry into your husband's family, they no longer practice the old ways. Your family may call you. And typically they probably would just because they feel bad for your spirit and they want to protect you. So they may, all right? But I'm not saying that they will or anything like that. Most of the times they probably won't because you've married off. But they might, you might have that crazy mom or dad who's really protective and worries about your soul. So they might. There is nothing wrong with it if they don't, you guys. It's really just on what your beliefs are. And I just had a crazy thought. What if you're afraid somebody's calling your spirit, So it doesn't matter. No matter what, it's what you believe in. So if I go to church, my mom can call my spirit all she wants. When I pass on, if I'm calling out to Jesus and to God, Buddha for all we know, that's where I'm going to go. And that is my belief, okay? Because it's what you believe in. And it is the power that you evoke that is where you're going to go. Oh, one of the questions was, if you pass on and you're married into a family, can you never find your family again? You're married into that family. You're a part of that family. If you are reborn, you'll be reincarnated into that family. That's not always the case, though. Sometimes when you're reincarnated, you may be reincarnated to a completely different family. And it all depends on your punishment, when you're going to be reborn. Some people are not reborn right away. Some people are actually reborn in another generation. So also keep that in mind. And then I was also asked, can ghosts hear you in your head? Like, you don't have to say it out loud, right? They can. And typically they only can is if you know how to direct your intent and your voice at them. It's like an intent thing. If it's and that's how they'll be able to hear it and be able to hear you say things in your head. And I think the main purpose of that question was, because sometimes they'll see a ghost and they'll get mad at it, but they won't say it out loud. They'll say it in their head, right? So you can, but it may not always work if you don't project it towards them. And sometimes it also has to do if you don't have the ability to. That's why a lot of people, they'll just yell out loud into an empty room if they have to. But I know, sometimes people get really scared and they don't want to do that. So All right, so I think that's going to be the end of this video here. It's getting very long. And my next video, probably after Thanksgiving, I'll talk about matjua. And matjua basically means like sleep paralysis, when you get slept on and everything like that. It has happened to me before. The worst experience. And we'll talk about that in the next video, you guys. But I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful Thanksgiving. Those in America, you'll know Wednesday is Blackout Wednesday, where everybody goes to the bar and gets wasted to prepare for their hangover on Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to be preparing for shopping. So I'm a huge Black Friday fanatic. I always go. I absolutely love it. This year I'm looking for an Instant Pot. Hopefully I get one. Last year I had one, but I ordered it online. Long story. UPS supposedly delivered it because they said it wasn't deliverable, which is BS. And then the store said, oh, we can't give it back to you. It's gone in the stock and I can't get the same deal. And I'm like, yeah, anyways. So this year I'm going to pick it up in person at the store. But anyways, I really hope to go get some more makeup. I know I really shouldn't be buying any more makeup, but I'm going to be looking for makeup. All right, you guys. Happy Thanksgiving.